Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. Tonight we're going live. We're going to be doing just the training camp buzz. We're going to read some of the news and the updates that have been going around. We did have a full week of OTAs last week, and there are beginnings to just continue that with this week. And we'll just kind of read some of the news and the blurbs here coming in through the Sports Edge here. Now, we're going to start with the New England Patriots. Mac Jones and Cam Newton, they kind of had an interesting day. And I actually want to, if you guys are on Twitter, you guys should follow me on Twitter because I do tweet out a handful of things here. And there was a couple interesting things here. One of the beat reporters for the New England Patriots, Mark Daniels, noting Mac Jones looks like the best QB. A couple other things here on defense, but a really interesting article kind of showing here. Let me kind of just zoom in. And they did a good job kind of breaking down the stats from the day. So Mac Jones was 17 of 25 on passes in team drills. It had 2 interceptions, but he was still the best passer of the day from the group. Let's see. He started, I think if you roll down a little bit, he started, let's see. We'll get to that. He was 13 of 19 at one point in the drills and then kind of got off the rails as the defense picked up their play. But Cam Newton finished 9 of 17. Jarrett Stidham went 5 of 7. And Brian Hoyer didn't throw any passes in the competitive team drills there. So Mac Jones led the day with the reps, with 25 total passes to Cam Newton 17. That's something interesting we'll have to keep a note of. It did seem like Cam Newton has been struggling. They had a rain practice there yesterday, and he didn't throw the ball very well either. Mac Jones didn't look great throwing the ball in a couple of videos that I watched, but something to keep an eye on here is Mac Jones maybe has more of a shot to start sooner than we think. So we'll keep an eye on that. That was probably the main news of the day. I guess the other main news with another rookie quarterback is Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. Here is the full quote from head coach Matt Nagy. So Chris Collinsworth asked Nagy if there was any way that Justin Fields would start week 1. Matt Nagy replies, no, Andy is our starter. Nagy has been unrelenting in supporting Andy Dalton as a starter ever since Chicago traded up to select Fields as the number 11 pick. Fields looks like the complete package as a prospect, but may have to wait a few weeks before seeing any action. So it looks so far like Andy Dalton's going to be the starter. If we just quick look at the Chicago Bears schedule, I want to maybe project and see what we could think of as a potential starting point for Justin Fields. So week 1, I guess those are preseason games, but week 1 against the Rams, that's going to be a tough game for Andy Dalton, and let alone a rookie making his first career start. The Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns, you would expect them to be able to beat the Bengals for sure. Browns is 50-50. Rams might be a little 50-50 as well. But at worst case scenario, you're thinking 1-2. Going into week 4 against Detroit. Maybe by week 4, they've seen enough Andy Dalton to get the Lions, the Raiders, and the Packers kind of before Tampa Bay. Otherwise, we're looking like we might have to wait a little bit until maybe the bye week, get the Ravens off the bye. We'll see. So that's definitely interesting. We got 2 rookie quarterbacks, Justin Fields and Mac Jones, both itching to start, but Andy Dalton and Cam Newton are in the way right now. Here's a note on Courtland Sutton. He won't start training camp on the active PUP list. That's really good news. He tore his ACL in the second week of the 2020 season, and it sounds like he's on track to be ready to go this season. Here's an interesting news blurb from the Jets. The Jets have a lot of good news blurbs coming out in camp right now, but the SNY's Ralph Vacchiano noted that Jets' Denzel Mims is one of the team's few receivers to not get reps with the first team on the first day of minicamp. That's concerning. Second-round wide receiver taken last year. They go ahead and take another second-round receiver in Elijah Moore. Again, Denzel Mims was the old regime's pick. The old coaching staff wanted Denzel Mims to be their guy. But then they go out and get Elijah Moore. They signed Corey Davis. They signed Keelan Cole. Jameson Crowder is officially back at Jets practice now, too. So this is putting Mims as the 5th receiver out there. So he's not draftable in redraft leagues. Dynasty leagues, we're going to have to hold on to him. He might have to be a guy that we wait for a chance to get on a new team. Or if injuries arise, we could see him kind of moving up the boards there. But again, that's Corey Davis as the 1, probably Jameson Crowder 2, Elijah Moore the 3, Keelan Cole the 4, and Denzel Mims the 5. It looks like Odell Beckham is participating in drills again. He had that knee injury last season, the torn ACL, so that's really good to see. Nikhil Harry, who apparently he was kind of on the roster bubble coming into camp, but the Athletics' Jeff Howe noted that Harry limped through the remainder of the drill he was participating in, and then his status is being monitored. Harry had been building momentum throughout the week. Let's see here, anything else? I don't know. It seems like a minor injury, but Harry needs to start stacking some good practices and a good training camp in order to stay ahead. They did bring in Kendrick Bourne. They brought in Nelson Aguilar. They brought in 2 really good tight ends. Jacoby Myers is still there. So at best, Nikhil Harry's probably 5th or 6th in the pecking order. I didn't even mention James White or any of the pass catching backs there. Now, this one's a kind of a fun one. Bengals' Joe Burrow said he thinks T. Higgins is going to have a big year. Burrow also noted that Higgins looks completely different compared to his 2020 form. The Bengals' offense took to the air relentlessly last year when Burrow was healthy. The rookie passer averaged 41.1 attempts per game before going down with a torn ACL injury. I think that might have been some of the most in the league. 41.1 passing attempts per game, that's a lot. And if you're excited about the Bengals' passing weapons, I think you should be. Because we're looking at, of course, Joe Burrow with this offense. You're looking at T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd. A legit chance that all 3 of those wide receivers can be useful for fantasy. There's not a tight end that we have to worry about for stealing targets or receptions or touchdowns. And then it's just going to go all back to Joe Mixon for the running game. So 4 really nice pieces on offense there around Joe Burrow. So I'm definitely into T. Higgins. I'm definitely into Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd at ADP. Let me just kind of show you guys in a PPR league setting. These are, again, you guys can purchase my 2021 draft kit. You'll get access to these projections and rankings within that document. But here we have Jamar Chase coming in at wide receiver 21. I do have, let's see, T. Higgins coming in. T. Higgins, I guess Tyler Boyd just tops in at number 30 and T. Higgins at wide receiver 32. So I do believe at worst all 3 guys will be a top 36 wide receiver, useful for you guys at your wide receiver 3 spots. Here's a good note on Trey Lance. Saying he will be given every opportunity to rise up the team's depth chart. There's really not too many people he has to hop on the depth chart, considering he's behind Jimmy Garoppolo. But the quote here from new offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel is, "You try not to get too far ahead of yourself. Of course, it tempts your mind a little bit, but you really have to get back to the basics. And with a guy like Trey, you're just teaching him the offense and coaching him on fundamentals and seeing where he can get, preparing him to compete in training camp." So Lance has taken a large number of the Niners on-field practice reps through 7 sessions, and Lance will be taken among the first 10 quarterbacks, maybe 7, depending on format, of the Dynasty draft board if the team anoints him as the starter over Jimmy G. So again, I kind of noted this in a few rookie quarterback videos I've talked about with Trey Lance. If he gets the week 1 starting position, he's a top 12 quarterback this year. And I think that anytime that he does play this season, he's going to be a top 10, top 12 quarterback. Similar to how Jalen Hurts kind of came in and he just was a top 5, top 10 quarterback those last 4 weeks. A guy with rushing upside and probably one of the better passing quarterbacks attached to some really good legs. Trey Lance is going to be a nice value for us this season. Laviska Shenault's been building a lot of buzz here. So let me read this. Sports Illustrated's John Shipley reports Jaguars OC Darrell Bevell wants to develop Laviska Shenault as a pure wide receiver this offense. So Shipley says he thinks we'll see some of Shenault used as a versatile rushing threat in 2021, but not as much as 2020. Shenault last season took 18 carries for 91 yards, often with direct snaps. The second-year receiver and fantasy favorite has reportedly dominated Jacksonville's offseason practices. It was always unlikely Shenault would be used as a rusher after the team used a first-round pick on Travis Etienne. But let's see. So they're not going to use Shenault too much as a wide receiver. Or as a running back. You're going to see him predominantly used as the receiving position. But I do think he's got an outside chance to lead this team in receptions this season. Just looking at what he is at his full body of work. Last season he went for 58 catches, 79 targets, 600 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He led the team in receptions last year as a rookie already. I know DJ Chark was already banged up, and of course DJ Chark's a more vertical threat, whereas Laviska can kind of just dominate in the middle of the field and get him some carries and go from there. But a team leading or a team tying 5 touchdowns last season, I really like Laviska at the moment right now. I have him going for 71 receptions, 785 yards, and 7 touchdowns, even rushing for a touchdown. I think I got to update his rushing numbers, though. I did have them kind of low at 5. So I'm all about Laviska Shenault. Zach Moss, Buffalo Bills head coach, says he's looking forward to having Zach Moss ready for training camp. Moss underwent surgery in January and is continuing his rehab as mini camps get underway. Moss he didn't really break away much last year, but if you guys remember watching my videos last summer, I did say not to draft Devin Singletary. Zach Moss is going to just completely destroy this backfield as far as fantasy value. So Singletary was the healthier back of the season. He ended up with more stats, but I do think Zach Moss, as the season went on, it was clear that he was kind of the banger in between the tackles. They wanted to use him more towards the goal line. He had 4 rushing touchdowns last year. He even caught a touchdown. So 5 touchdowns to Singletary's 2. They gave him a ton of touches. He played well, 4.3 yards per carry, caught the ball just as well here with 14 receptions and 18 targets, 95 yards. So I'm looking forward to Moss building on his second season and maybe being a top 30, top 36 running back this year and making that separation between him and Singletary a little bit bigger. Let's keep on scrolling here. I'm just kind of looking for offensive notes. So this one was from, I believe, early this morning, it looks like, but Bill Belichick saying Cam Newton is way ahead of where he was last season. Keep in mind, Cam Newton came late to the 2020 team, and they just threw a bunch at him. They didn't give him many weapons at all to throw the ball to, so it was a pretty chaotic year for the Patriots offense. And I just think, here's the quote from Cam Newton. I was behind and I was thinking too much. The offense kept going and I was stagnant for 2 weeks. It was all new terminology. I wasn't just trying to learn a new system for what it was. I was learning a 20-year system in 2 months. So it seems to be that I think this Patriots offense is going to be much better than people expect this season, whether it's Cam Newton or Mac Jones. You're probably going to see a lot of points scored by this New England running game. And then just the added boost to the receiving game with Kendrick Bourne, Aguilar, and then the 2 tight ends, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. I think it's going to be a pretty difficult offense to stop if Cam Newton's running the way that we're used to seeing him run. Speaking of Jonnu Smith, Jeff Howell reports he's not participating at the minicamp after suffering an apparent hamstring injury. One of my golden rules of fantasy football is don't draft an injured player who's injured before the season starts. So this is not off to a good start for Jonnu Smith. We're going to have to watch and check back in with him in July to make sure he's not just make sure this hamstring's not lingering or it's not aggravating him and making him miss any more practices. So for now, if you're drafting in best ball leagues, lean Hunter Henry if you can, who might be a better ADP right now anyways. But I still like Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith as far as best ball leagues. It's going to be interesting to see which tight end is the leading tight end, but I think they're both going to be on the field quite a bit this season. Kellen Mond signs his big deal. Let's see here. Ramondre Stevenson, a lot of New England Patriots blurbs today. This report is saying has shown more pass catching ability than expected at OTAs. Billed as a LeGarrette Blount comp, 4th-round pick Ramondre Stevenson has showed a bit more pass catching ability than expected. The 230-pound back caught 7 passes in 7-on-7, and he caught passes in 7-on-7 in the team periods and doesn't look one-dimensional. So this is something kind of interesting. The Patriots tend to kind of let the rookie running backs ease in, so I don't know if he's going to have a huge role this season. He's going to be behind Damian Harris, Sony Michel for sure come week 1. So he's got his work cut out for him. But if you're looking for dynasty leagues, guys with some upside, Ramondre Stevenson could be a guy worth a late round pick here. Let me keep on moving. There's more Cam Newton reps here. Allen Robinson plans to report to minicamp on Tuesday. I think he reported today. I did see that. Trevor Lawrence, they're just being cautious with Trevor Lawrence. And these are all kind of notes from yesterday, so I'll kind of just keep on working these in. But Jameson Crowder's contract was renegotiated here, so he's going to be back with the Jets. We had been on Jameson Crowder watch because we wanted to get excited about Elijah Moore, who we should really still be excited about. I just don't think we're going to see him, be a fantasy stud until 2022. So if you're still drafting dynasty leagues, he's a fantastic pick. I think you're just going to have to wait till 2022 to see the full Elijah Moore that we've been hearing about all training camp here. So fantastic player, though. Elijah Moore, Jameson Crowder is just going to be in the way for a little bit, unless he's traded. We'll see. Nick Mullins signs with the Eagles. Good backup quarterback signing there. Cam Newton. Jacoby Myers. This one's kind of interesting. It's talking about a lot of Patriots notes today. Don't be surprised if Jacoby Myers looks like the Patriots' #1 wide receiver during the team's minicamp. So Myers has enjoyed a strong spring in New England, And he led the team in targets, receptions, and yards last year. Edelman's retired. He is the de facto returning number one pass catching option. But he does have to compete with Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. So I'm going to be interested in July to see if Myers is still the clear-cut number one target or what we're looking at there. But for fantasy, Jacoby, nothing really more than a wide receiver 4 or 5, someone you bring off the bench, and we'll go from there. Here's an interesting report on Javonte Williams. Denver's Post's Ryan O'Halloran believes second round Javonte Williams will start for the Broncos in week 1. I think he's the week 1 starter. You do not trade up in the second round for that position without having him earmarked to be your main guy. Melvin Gordon has been a complete no-show during OTAs. If they thought he was still a starter, I believe he would have made an appearance or two. So that's interesting to know. No Melvin Gordon at OTAs yet. That's going to give Javonte Williams tons of reps and tons of opportunities to impress his coaches. So Williams' worst case scenario is splitting touches, while his best case scenario is opening the year ahead of Mike Boone as the de facto 3-down runner. So this is looking really good. We'll see what happens with Melvin Gordon. But all of a sudden, Javonte Williams, after reading this, he has a very high ADP already. Somewhere probably in the 5th, 6th round, but the later that he goes in drafts, that's where I get interested. So if you're drafting best ball leagues right now, 6th round pick for Javonte Williams, it seems a bit rich, but if you're getting the number one back for Denver, again, we'll see about Melvin Gordon. But just something interesting. This is a good buzz note here to kind of just file away and just continue to monitor throughout the summer. Another rookie running back, Trey Sermon for the 49ers. They're noting that he's ahead of the curve. Raheem Mostert limited for precautionary reasons, and Jeff Wilson is absent for the next 4 to 6 months with that injury that he suffered. Sermon was given all he could handle in first-team reps, catching passes from Jimmy G, as well as taking off handoffs. He was ahead of the curve after studying Kyle Shanahan's outside zone scheme before transferring to Ohio State, a similar offense, and finishing with the rushing lines of the 300 game, the 191 and the 193-yard game, massive games on national TV. He's got his work cut out for him. I like Sermon a lot. He's got to beat Mostert. He's got to beat Wayne Gallman. And so he should be at worst be the number 3 running back going into week 1. But again, just if Mostert is just being limited with off-season stuff, maybe they ride the hot hand in Sermon right away and give that offense a boost. So Sermon, he's going drafted as a top 30 running back, even ahead of Raheem Mostert now. So it seems like the train has left the station on Trey Sermon. Try to collect him if you can. Let's see. Joe Mixon will share third down snaps this season. Having Joe Mixon on the field makes us better. At the same time, you don't need him on the field for 75 snaps. Let's see here, but. So the Bengals moved on from Gio Bernard, but gave Samaje Perine a 2-year, $3.3 million extension this offseason. Splitting pass game snaps wouldn't change much for Mixon, who still projects as a workhorse coming off of last year's mid-foot sprain. The Bengals also have Travion Williams, Chris Evans, and Puka Williams on their 90-man roster. So interesting to note here, it's just basically saying Mixon, he's going to get more work in the passing game, but he's still going to split it. I currently have him splitting snaps with I don't think people are paying enough attention to Samaje Perine. What's going on, Justin? People are already drafting Trey Sermon as high as like the 6th or 7th round of drafts that I've seen so far. He's inside the top 30 of running backs. And I don't know. He's going to be a guy that I think you want on your bench. Maybe it doesn't happen for him right away, but as far as drafting him right now, you're going to have to spend a high pick on the rookie running back. And same for Javonte Williams. It seems like both those guys are showing out right now. And Mixon, I'm very close on Mixon. Let me see where I have Mixon in my PPR rankings. I have him as RB11. So if you can get him anywhere in round 2, I think that's where it looks really good. So that's PPR rankings right now. Where were we? We were just talking about Mixon. Oh, I was going to show you guys so Cincinnati, I have Mixon at RB11. And then if we look here, Samaje Perine, I have him projected for a good amount of work, but just 45 carries on 19 catches. I probably could even do more work than that. But if we look down here Joe Mixon's last full healthy season, he had 278 rushing attempts and 35 catches. I think that you're kind of looking at that as his floor. The season before that, he had 237 carries and 43 catches. So he's got upside to maybe be a mid-40s, 50s catcher. I have him at 49 catches this season and 280 total rushing attempts. So you're looking at a guy that can be a massive top, just like Justin asked here, a top 7 running back. But I think he looks best as your running back 2 in that second round. Cam Akers is going to be Drake from last year. I haven't been drafting too much Cam Akers, just because in that area that he's going, Cam Akers sometimes costs. Like I've seen him go as high as like 9th, 10th, 11th overall in a draft, and then as far as being in the second round, I prefer drafting. If I go to my flex rankings here, in the second round, if I can't get a guy like Mixon. I've been hammering these receivers. I'm not taking Cam Akers over Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, DeAndre Hopkins. Give me those stud receivers over the second-year Cam Akers. Travis Kelce for sure. I have Cam Akers down here as my 37th best player, and that's just filtered by PPR points. That's not really my true rankings, but interesting notes here. We're going to be going down to the Deer District tonight. Later there, Justin. So I'm probably going to sign off in a few minutes, but I just wanted to check any more news here. Again, we talked about Cam Newton struggling and losing reps to Mac Jones already. That's interesting here. This one I thought was kind of fun when I saw it come through the other day. Byron Pringle was the teammate who was targeted the most by Patrick Mahomes in the first part of Chiefs minicamp. So file Byron Pringle away. He's been on the team the last few seasons and made some nice plays when he gets the opportunity. Should I go RB having the 6th pick in the draft in a 10 team? 6th pick. Let's see. Should I go RB? I have no problem with snagging a running back there at 6. And let's see. I mean, ideally, this is telling me I'm willing to take Nick Chubb at 6th overall. You can take whatever running back you like, but I really like Nick Chubb. If you're looking for a round 2 running back, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, that's kind of the guys. If Austin Eckler falls to you, I would love any of these guys. Even Antonio Gibson, if you really want an Antonio Gibson, but in a 10-man league, if you can get, you're probably going to be able to get a solid 3rd-round running back. So if you're up to picking, you're getting one of these players, Diggs, Adams. We'll see about Adams, but any of these receivers here that I have highlighted, I'd probably have a hard time picking them over the running backs. And the Brewer game, I was at the Brewer game last Saturday. It was pretty good. We saw Corbin Burns come in and pitch. He got kind of rattled at first, but then we also got to see Josh Hader come in at the end there to steal the deal. So it's always fun to see Josh Hader come in and just smoke his 3 batters and leave. So it was a good time, good weekend, good sports right now for the Brewers and the Bucks. So a lot of good things. But yeah, I'm not going to the game. I'm just going to be watching it from the Deer District this evening. So I'm probably going to get out of here soon. And yeah, if you can get the 2 running backs, because here's the deal. You're going to like your receivers later in the draft, especially in a 10-team league. I mean, you're going to be target, CD, anybody down here from like Deontay, CeeDee Lamb, Godwin, Evans, Jamar Chase. You can build a really good receiving core with all of these weapons right here that I have highlighted. So I don't mind snagging the 2 running backs. Again, basically anybody from probably Gibson up. I think Gibson to me looks great. I have him ranked 13th. He's going to be the best looking RB2 I think that you can find. But if you can get 2 of my top 12 running backs, that's going to be a good season. So we'll I'm sure we got time before that draft happens, but it should be kind of fun to kind of watch throughout the summer. But anyways, I think I'm going to get out of here for the evening. I got some things to take care of before I am out. Tonight is Tuesday. I'll probably be going live tomorrow night too. Maybe we do a mock draft. We'll hang out again. Hopefully the Bucks get the win and we'll be in a good mood tomorrow. But I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Justin, have a good night, man. We'll see you guys in another video. Cool. Peace.